is ESPN on ABC.
Welcome to the desert, and welcome to a heavyweight Pac-12 matchup. 5th-ranked UCLA, 11th-ranked Arizona. Here inside the McHale Center in Tucson, Arizona. Azuolas Tubelis leading the Pac-12 in both scoring and rebounding. Part of a dynamic front court along with Oumar Ballo, who is second in the conference in rebounding, and All-America candidate Jaime Jaquez Jr., one of the big reasons why UCLA has won 14 in a row and again ranked 5th in the nation. Welcome to ESPN Saturday Primetime. You are watching the Pac-12 on ESPN. Tommy Lloyd and the Cats, Mick Cronin and the Bruins. UCLA undefeated in conference play. Arizona 5-3, the first of 2 regular season meetings between these 2 great programs. Hi, everybody, and welcome to a great environment here in Tucson. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Holly Rowe is with us in a moment. You got a great offensive team. You got a great defensive team. Should be a terrific game.
And the game is really going to be all about the paint. Can Arizona keep UCLA, who's an excellent mid-range shooting team, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. especially, can they keep the Bruins out of the paint? And on the other side, can Arizona get in transition with their big guys that can really run, especially Tubelis? And can they get in the paint and in their high-low game and take advantage of those great big guys that they have, Ballo and Tubelis?
Not all about the big guys, also an appetizing point guard matchup. And with more on that, here's Holly Rowe.
That's right. We have 2 of the most dynamic point guards in the country here today facing off against each other. But Kirk Kriisa of Arizona said, I don't want to hear about point guard duel. That's pointless. All we care about is winning the game. He and Tiger Campbell had a little Twitter beef last year, but they've worked it out. They got to hang out, meet each other at Pac-12 Media Day. He said, you know what? He's a great guy off the court, but on the court, they're going to go at each other. The key for UCLA, Tiger Campbell said, is not turning it over on the road, and he's been good at that. In the last 200 minutes against Arizona, he's only turned it over twice. They might not think it's a duel, but we're going to love watching it. These 2 guys are a lot of fun to watch.
They sure are, Holly. Thank you very much. Tony Padilla, Frank Harvey III, and Michael Greenstein are the officials today. It is a sellout at the McHale Center. Arizona won 2 out of 3 last year. Each team won on its home court. And then Arizona prevailed in the Pac-12 championship game last March in Las Vegas. Underway with the Wildcats winning the opening tip.
UCLA, a man-to-man defensive team. They'll throw a 2-2-1 3-quarter court press that they trap out of. And they're going to have to handle a lot of ball screens.
And an early Arizona turnover. UCLA coming off a win in Tempe on Thursday night, a game in which they didn't play well in the first half, trailed at halftime, but won by 14. Close strong. Arizona defeated USC here Thursday night. As you check out the UCLA starting 5, again, no Amari Bailey. Jay missing his 7th consecutive game with a foot injury, but David Singleton, one of the best shooters in the country, taking his spot of the starting lineup.
Well, Singleton can stretch the floor, but everybody else, they're going to want to try to get into the paint. And this is where Jaime Jaquez wants to be all the time, in the middle of the floor. Just got a simple down screen and came right up to the free throw line without hesitation. This is where Arizona wants to go high, low.
And an early foul on Adem Bona, who thought he got all ball, and 36 seconds into the game, Arizona gets into the paint, and Mick Cronin has to make a substitution.
And anytime the ball goes to the high post, you're going to get an immediate seal. Bona got caught on the top side of that seal, and that's tough to get around Oumar Ballo, but he is a great shot blocker. That early foul, not a great sign, but Bona can really block shots. He changes a lot of shots, and his agility is really impressive. That's what led to that very first turnover.
But Mick Cronin concerned about his big man, a freshman, picking up his first so soon into the game. So Bona has gone to the bench, and Kenneth Nuba, a redshirt senior from Nigeria, comes in. Mick Cronin did not like that call one bit.
You know, and oftentimes when a player picks up 2 fouls in the first half, you'll see a coach take the player out for the remainder of the half. And it's not that the coach doesn't trust the player. It sometimes doesn't trust that the whistle will be right the remainder of the half. You don't want to take the chance.
This is Jalen Clark, a guy who does everything and does it well for UCLA. Leads the conference in steals. Floater a little bit short. And the rebound down to Tubelis, coming off a career-high 17 boards against USC on Thursday night. Meanwhile, second season at the helm of the Wildcats program for Tommy Lloyd, 49-7, the Pac-12 Coach of the Year a year ago.
Well, you can see, even though there was a turnover, Oumar Ballo and Azuolas Tubelis run the floor as hard as any big guys in the country, and that puts a ton of pressure on a player like Kenneth Nuba, who's got to run that floor with them. And here's where Jaquez wants to be, middle of the floor. And anytime Jalen Clark gets it against Azuolas Tubelis, expect him to drive.
Shot clock down to 3. Clark, 4-3, knocks it down, and UCLA back on top.
And that is the first 3 that Jalen Clark has hit away from Pauley Pavilion. Wow. They wanted to try to have him tested over the top and take away his drives.
Cedric Henderson Jr. moving into the starting lineup on Thursday night. Pelle Larsson now coming off the bench for Arizona. More on that a little bit later. Kerr Kriisa a little strong on the 3 and out of bounds to the Bruins.
Jalen Clark getting the relocation pass from Nuba and just ready to shoot it, 0 hesitation. And that's his 17th 3 of the year. But 16 of those 17s were at Pauley Pavilion. That's his first away from home.
Clark over Tubelis, and a foul on Azuolas Tubelis.
Anytime Clark drives, he is going to go right into the chin of his defender. He's very good at drawing fouls. And I think UCLA is going to target Tubelis. I mean, that was literally right into his chin. Led with his elbow. And actually, that was all offense-initiated contact. There was no contact initiated there by Azuolas Tubelis.
We had a chance to talk to Mick Cronin about Jalen Clark before the game, and he talked about when he went to look at him as a high school player, and he said Clark noticed him, knew he was the coach of UCLA, and he said from that moment on, Jay, he tried to block every shot, tried to get every loose ball, tried to pick up deflections, rebounds. He wasn't a great shooter then, but he is just a great winning player who can help you in so many different ways.
So if he noticed Mick right away, he must have been sitting up front then, right? I love teasing Mick about his lack of size and my oversized body.
Travel on Oumar Ballo.
And Arizona already off to too many turnovers. First turnover, they throw the ball out of bounds, then Ballo on the short roll walks with it. The one in transition trying to get a bucket, Tommy Lloyd doesn't mind. Those other 2, though, have to be cleaned up against a team as good as UCLA.
Clark again with Tubelis on him. Long jumper, a little bit short. Kriisa the rebound for Arizona. Look at this look ahead. Tubelis lays it in, and a foul.
No big guy in America runs the floor harder or as well with the kind of speed as Azuolas Tubelis. I mean, he just takes off and goes the other way, and all of a sudden Singleton is trailing. Shouldn't have fouled him. You just got to give up the basket there. But Tubelis leads the Pac-12 in transition points at 6-11. That's remarkable.
When Arizona is going well, they score, and you talked about it, they score a ton of points in the paint. The last 6 or 7 games, those numbers are down. Teams obviously know what they're trying to do, but sometimes you can know what they're trying to do and still not stop them.
Double team off the spin.
Singleton, a rare miss on an open look, and the rebound for Nuba.
Anytime Jaime Jaquez spins, they're going to send a double at him, it looks like.
Tiger Campbell coming off a 22-point effort against Arizona State Thursday night. High arcing jumper off to the left. Clark with a follow.
Well, Jalen Clark, one of the best offensive rebounders among wings in the Pac-12, averages about 2 a game and leads the league in steals. One of the best defenders in the country.
Ballo pleading his case, feeling he was fouled there. Another look at the bucket by Clark.
He just overpowered Kerr Kriisa and threw him aside. Hard to believe that there's no call there one way or the other. It was a face guard blockout, and Jalen Clark having absolutely none of it.
Clark at 6'5", 205, but as Mick Cronin says, plays a lot bigger than that.
One-on-one in the post with Ballo going against Nuba.
And Ballo wins the battle. Nuba got knocked down. The UCLA bench wants a foul. The Arizona bench wants a flop. Neither happens, but it's a bucket for Ballo.
They need a cut man so far in this game. Blows to the head on both sides of the floor.
Great atmosphere here at the McHale Center.
Always is. This is one of the great arenas in college basketball.
Nuba, not an offensive player, never looks to shoot. Jaquez, baseline jumper, Nuba the rebound, but we've got a foul going against him. Oumar Ballo having a sensational year for Arizona. A guy that Tommy Lloyd knew, of course, from Gonzaga. Coach Lloyd circles the globe in an effort to find players for his programs. Gonzaga now Arizona. We'll show you where he's been when we come back.
Don't see Canada on there.
Arizona, a team that has players from all over the globe. You look at players from Sweden, Estonia, Serbia, France, Lithuania, and also Mali. Oumar Ballo coming from Mali. Tommy Lloyd has long been known as a guy who will go anywhere to find players. Holly Rose got more.
Well, guys, Tommy Lloyd is actually working on his third passport. These are his 2 expired ones. I went through them. In his first one that he got in 1997, I counted 32 stamps. But in his most recent one, over 50 stamps, different countries. The most interesting ones, Mauritius, Zimbabwe. So many different countries that he has been to looking for great talent. He's had that reputation for a long time. But to see all the stamps in the passport, man, Tommy Lloyd's been working and traveling. Big shout out to him for his dedication to find great players all over the world.
Any vacations you noticed in there, Holly?
No.
Well, 2-2-1, 3/4 court pressure, and UCLA will trap out of this. Anytime that you see that, Arizona's got to catch, face the defense, and make a play. You catch on the run, it's a turnover.
Prisa with a floater, too strong off the glass. Ballo fighting for the offensive rebound, but leaves it short.
UCLA switching on that last possession. And Arizona has to take on those switches, get into some high-low, and take advantage of it. Well, UCLA's ball movement is good. This is a good passing team.
And it all starts with Tiger Campbell. What an outstanding college point guard he has been. Clark in the corner, misses the 3, and it is out of bounds to UCLA.
Courtney Ramey and Oumar Ballo both going after that ball together. Tough to get communication when you're going after a rebound, but those are the kind of things that a coach can live with when you got guys pursuing the ball.
A substitution for each team. Tommy Lloyd sends Pelle Larsson into the game. Of course, he had been a starter all year, but the Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year a season ago, now coming off the bench. They weren't getting much from the bench, and Coach Lloyd switched it up on Thursday night to very good effect as Larsson had 15 off the bench for the Cats.
Arizona does such a good job of throwing ahead.
Larsson gets an early touch at a corner 3, but can't knock it down.
Arizona is so dangerous in transition, not just because the big guys run, but because they throw ahead. And that's an example of Tiger Campbell doing a really good job of snaking ball screens, getting a switch, and then taking the big guy out.
And Jay taking the big guy out is what Mick Cronin's going to do. That's 2 on Nuba. So he brings Bona back in, who's already picked up 1. 3 fouls on their 2 big guys in just over 5 minutes.
Tiger Campbell snaked that ball screen. Ballo tried to switch off, but then tried to get back to the big guy. You don't want to give up those open threes to Tiger Campbell, and especially David Singleton. Everybody else, you're more concerned about the drive than you are the three-point shot.
Over the top, Ballo. And he's fouled. There were 3 Bruins there. Let's see who they got.
Looked like they got Jaquez.
And it is Jaquez, but Arizona, to no one's surprise, trying to assert itself right underneath the rim.
Well, they're doing it by breaking somebody. It was Pelle Larsson when they get a switch, he rolled Tiger Campbell right down into the post. They just run somebody up to the top of the key, and now you've got that high low to be able to take advantage of it. You just throw it right over the top.
And pounding that ball inside, one of the big reasons why Arizona gets to the line, Jay, as much as they do.
Yeah, and Arizona, both have played 19 games. Arizona has made more free throws on the season than UCLA has attempted. You know, the Wildcats have shot 131 more free throws to this point in the season than UCLA has garnered. Now, that's going to be an important factor in this game. How often can Arizona get to the line? The most efficient place on the basketball floor to score.
Will McClendon, redshirt freshman from Las Vegas, on the court right now for UCLA. That's him putting up the runner and knocking it down.
Well, good job by Tiger Campbell to deal with that pressure. Arizona was trying to force him all the way to the rim.
McClendon missed all of last year, torn ACL, and then missed the first 8 games this year, recovering from that injury and subsequent surgery. Balla with McClendon on him. Bona coming over to help. Baseline spin, and too strong on the jumper.
Took a little bit of contact, but that was good defense by UCLA just to wall up and make Balla shoot over. Just don't give him an angle to the basket.
Jaime Jaquez, the leading scorer and rebounder for UCLA this season, averaging better than 16 points a game. Into the paint and foul.
That's where he's so dangerous. Just gets a high flat screen, everybody else flat against the baseline, and let him go one-on-one.
Well, tomorrow we'll have an ACC women's basketball matinee on ABC and the ESPN app. Diamond Johnson leads number 20 NC State against Louisville. The Cardinals 6-2 in league play, just a half game away from the top spot of the league. Should be a good one. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern.
Jaime Jaquez is maybe the most underappreciated star in college basketball, and I mean star. I mean, he leads the Bruins in scoring, rebounding, offensive rebounding, gets about 2 steals per game. You know, Dan, against Colorado, he had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 4 steals. At UCLA, you have to go all the way back to David Greenwood back in the late 70s for a Bruin that's put up those kind of numbers in the same game. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, a sensational player who, even if he's not filling it up in the offensive end, can help you win in many other ways. To Bellis. Remember, Bona's playing with a foul already. Clark comes over and takes it away.
But great job by Jalen Clark to come over from the weak side. As soon as Tubelis turned his back, he was right on top of the ball.
Tiger Campbell on the bench at the moment for the Bruins. Dylan Andrews, a freshman from Gardena, California, number 2 into the game.
Good shot fake.
And a travel is called on Jaquez. He can't believe it.
Wow. I'm not sure I saw that either. A little bit of contact, but that was an up and under move. You have to stay down on shot fakes with UCLA. That's
a good move, don't you think?
It's a great move. Yeah. That's micro on the feet. If they moved, it didn't move much.
Kylan Boswell, this 17-year-old freshman from Champaign, Illinois, number 4, into the game at the point now for Arizona.
I think Arizona's got to look into Tubelis. He's got Jaquez on him, fronting him.
Larson, left hand, no, and it's UCLA ball.
And that's Jaime Jaquez right there. He couldn't get the rebound, so he knocked it out to a teammate.
You know, Jay, when Arizona's gotten out in transition, they've scored or gotten to the line 5-on-5. They're having trouble right now.
There's the shot fake again.
Andrews puts it up from 16. And Henderson cannot keep it in bounds. It'll be Bruins ball.
Every time a UCLA Bruin catches the ball, you have to be prepared for a shot fake first. And it is easy to talk about, but when you're playing defense and you're really locked in, you know, it's really easy to go for those things.
Turnaround by Jaquez, and that won't go down as both teams have gone cold.
Anytime Jaquez gives a jab step or taps that right foot, he is going right.
Tipped away by Singleton, recovered by Henderson. To Bellis, the lefty, with a drive, and that won't go down. 6 consecutive misses now for the Wildcats.
Going right at Bona.
And a travel at the other end on Jalen Clark. It's been an offensive struggle here for the Bruins and the Wildcats. 8.5 in here in Tucson. Big time Pac-12 matchup with the Bruins leading by 4.
A saguaro cactus. The cacti in Tucson. I love my fight.
It's a tremendous responsibility, and I'm honored to be in the position to take on that responsibility. Being an older guy with a bunch of young guys on the team, my job to make sure that they're always in the right positions and always bringing their all every single day. I try to teach them what it means to be a UCLA Bruin and the historic tradition that we've built here.
A few in the country do all of those things as well as Jaime Jaquez Jr. With more, here's Holly.
Well, guys, one of the things that's impressive about him is his hustle on the court defensively. He actually leads the team in deflections the last 2 years because they have put this award together for the Hungry Dog. It is a big bone, and they carry it everywhere. It's here in the locker room. And after the game, if you led the team in deflections, you get assigned the bone. Well, whoever has signed it the most throughout the course of the year gets to take it home and keep it forever. Jaime has 2 of these. One's with his parents in Camarillo. One's in his dorm room or in his room at UCLA. But so far this year, Jalen is ahead of him. So it is a competition between the players, but more importantly, it is a mentality that Mick Cronin has established with his kids. And you can buy those bones on Amazon. They got one earlier this season, but it was too little. They have had to send away and get a bigger bone because they are some hungry dogs.
Thank you, Holly. That was a look at our Wendy's Wooden Watch. Jaime Jaquez Jr., a midseason candidate for the Wendy's Wooden Award. An answer at the other end on the inside for Oumar Ballo.
Really nicely done out of the timeout by Arizona. Ballo sets a screen, then rolls right to the basket, and a terrific pass by Pelle Larsson, who's one of the best passers on this Arizona team.
Ballo playing off Bona. He's not going to look to shoot from out there. The handoff to Campbell.
Yeah, any non-shooting big man, they will play right in the middle of the lane. Arizona wants to clog things up.
Shot clock running down. Campbell gets it off. It bounces to Clark, who lays it in.
Boy, Bona and Tubelis clashed, just knocked bodies. Tubelis went down, and that made Clark able to get that ball.
Ballo has it stripped away, I think, by Singleton. Now the Bruins in transition. Singleton steps into a 3, and Ballo another rebound. A little more pace here coming out of the timeout. Both teams, though, still struggling to make shots.
A good job by Bona to force that catch a little further out on the floor. It's harder to run high-low the higher it's caught.
Prisa for 3 to get him back within 1.
Arizona's coming off a game against USC in which they went 12 of 24 from 3. They had not shot the ball well the 5 games prior, only 29%. If Prisa can get going, he needs to tie his shoe right now.
He's concerned about that. Reached down to start it, didn't think he had time.
He has time, he just won't be able to guard anybody.
Clark's got 9 of UCLA's 14. Taken away by Boswell. Well, he thought about it, didn't he? Mismatch inside, but they don't get the ball into Tubelis.
Bona does such a good job of putting pressure on that pass up top.
Prisa again. And it's UCLA ball.
But UCLA sends all 5 guys to the defensive glass. Nobody's taking off early. You know, possession more important to them than getting out to an early start.
McClendon left alone.
They just dared him to shoot that. That was a dare shot. Good pass.
Again, just such deep position by Ballo, but he couldn't finish. He thought he got fouled, but they play on.
Well, he got hit with the body.
And because he was a little bit late getting back, Bona beats him down the floor.
Well, Oumar was feeling sorry for himself after not getting fouled and didn't get back.
Cronin says that M. Bona's a 6'10 guy with the agility of a 6'2 guy. We saw some of it there. Ballo And we're going to have a flopping call here going against UCLA. Tony Padilla with the call. And they don't blow the whistle right away. They want to let the play finish, see if Ballo can score, but we will have a flopping technical foul here going against the Bruins.
Ballo catches it on that short roll. Smart enough to catch it and stop rather than roll right into a charge.
So that is a Class B technical foul. Does not count as a personal, but a 1 free throw because of the flopping call on Jalen Clark. And he's trying to get Tony Padilla's attention to plead his case a little bit.
He's getting the explanation, and Tony Padilla telling Clark he spun off of you. But that's 270 pounds of spin.
And then the last whistle was because of a personal foul on Adem Bona, and that is his second. So he only played the first 36 seconds, picked up his first. Nuba came in, played several minutes, then he picked up 2. Bona came back, and now he's got 2. And Bona likely...
It's not likely. He won't be back in.
Yeah, he'll be sitting on the bench.
Yeah, Mick Cronin traditionally does not put guys in the remainder of the half once they've picked up 2. And again, it's not just that he doesn't trust the player, but sometimes you don't trust that you're going to get the call you want in this type of game.
And obviously Bona being able to stay on the floor, given how good Ballo and Tubelis are, that's an incredibly big factor for UCLA today.
And you mentioned his mobility. Without Bona in there, you don't have that big guy putting great pressure on the ball in that high-low action.
Ballo's gone to the bench. Arizona a little bit smaller right now. Campbell's pass taken away. And the foul going against Arizona, Cedric Henderson Jr.
Wow, I thought Henderson Jr. had the steal. I thought that Nuba was going to get that foul. That's interesting.
Well, we'll all take a look going to break. Under 8 timeout here in Tucson.
Oh, boy, that's an interesting call.
It goes against Arizona. The UCLA Bruins have won the most national championships in men's Division I history, 11. The last one, though, all the way back in 1995. They went from first 4 to final 4 2 years ago, a Sweet 16 appearance last year. And Mick Cronin says when you play in an arena where they've got 11 banners, you're thinking about number 12. You're thinking about March and April. Obviously, you're thinking about big things, Jay, when you're the coach of the UCLA Bruins.
And UCLA on a 14-game win streak. You take a look there at Mick Cronin, who's done a fantastic job at UCLA. He started out his career as a head coach at Murray State, his head coaching career. And then went to Cincinnati, did a fantastic job with the Bearcat program. And now all suited up.
All suited up.
Doesn't go with the half zip.
No.
Mick said when you're sitting in John Wooden's seat, you dress up.
And a guy who, despite all of those years in Cincinnati, no longer tolerant of cool weather. Walked outside this morning to get a coffee and said, man, it's cold here in Arizona.
Well, why should you when you live in Los Angeles? Nuba just leaning into that screen a little bit, picking up the foul.
So, and that's always been a competitor, hasn't he, Mick Cronin? So 3 on Nuba, but he stays in the game because Bona, who's the more valuable player, the starter, he's on the bench with 2 as Tubelis misses back-to-back from point-blank range.
And Pelle Larsson's a good passer from up there. Tubelis took a little bit of a shot, but a shot he normally finishes.
Andrews, the rebound to Boswell.
Arizona doesn't mind. They don't want any, they don't mind anybody but Singleton taking those threes.
Boy, teams are getting good looks, but both teams are down around 30% so far in this game. UCLA's at 31, Arizona, Jay, at 25%, one of the best offensive teams in the nation.
Well, you're going to have to hit some perimeter shots in this one because anything inside the paint has been an MMA fight.
In the UCLA 14-game winning streak, they have allowed an average of 57.4 points per game.
Looks like UCLA is trying to get Jaime Jaquez into the post.
Boy, another pretty good look, but it won't go down for Andrews.
Well, the looks are fine, but one of the reasons they're looks is the non-shooters are being asked to shoot right now.
A pretty good shooter in Courtney Ramey, 12 for 26 from 3 his last 3 games, but he can't make it.
Ramey has been on a hot streak, and he's also a good defender. He's got Singleton right now. You got to stay with him.
Tiger Campbell from the baseline. UCLA takes the lead.
Whenever UCLA needs something, they can go to Tiger Campbell. I mean, Mick Cronin was saying in that game against Arizona State, Jaquez has 2 fouls in the first half, and Tiger Campbell was basically, we're not losing. We're just not losing.
And nobody else could score at all for UCLA. So Campbell changed from a facilitator to a scorer as Pelle Larsson knocks one down to tie it up.
That was a big-time drive by Pelle Larsson. He took a lot of contact on that shot, had to go around to the other side of the rim.
Boy, Nuba just screening out a couple of defenders, but Jaquez a miss.
You'd rather have him take a 3 than get to that mid-range where he is so dangerous.
Ramey baseline cut off. Preset to Tubelis.
What a pass. Well, he just took a little bit of a shot from Tiger Campbell. Didn't want to charge.
Where Julius Tubelis, who shoots 57% on the season, averaging better than 20 a game, 1 for 5 3-points today.
Well, Nuba is moving all over the place on those screens.
Campbell again.
That was tough to negotiate. It's just one screen after another, picking off ball screen defenders.
One of the best point guards in the nation, Tiger Campbell. Now Tubelis. The 2 officials are looking at each other, and the call will go against Tubelis. That'll be his second. What'd you think?
Both officials called the same thing, didn't they?
They looked at each other for a while, wanted to make sure they agreed on the call, and now Tubelis sits down with 2. Ballo back in. Had that gone on Nuba, it would have been his 4th.
Not a lot of choices right now for Mick Cronin. Nuba's got to be a little bit careful on those screens out top with those 3 fouls.
And a block called on Larsson.
Still a long way to go. I mean, UCLA has 7 fouls, 5 fouls for Arizona. So teams getting into the 1-and-1 really late. They're going to run this for Jaquez, try to get him down to the post.
Had to settle for Campbell in the backcourt. Campbell with a great change of pace, misses the runner, and Ballo the rebound.
Well, he got hit hard there.
Henderson lines one up. Singleton runs it down.
Boy, every drive you have to be prepared for contact in this game. And Tiger Campbell took a shot on that.
Jay, the 2 teams have combined 2 for 16 from 3-point range. Both of them right around 36% from 3 on the season.
Jaquez switched back now. Larsson took him. He had Ramey on him.
Singleton with a long 2. He can't make it. Jaquez keeps it alive. Clark the miss, though.
Boy, it's amazing how hard Jaime Jaquez Jr. goes after the ball.
Ramey. Arizona on top. Boy, did they need that.
Well, you're not going to keep Ramey down long. He shoots 41% from 3. and he does not need much space to get it off.
First lead of the game for the Wildcats.
Now Ramey switched off, middle of the floor for Jaquez.
Jaquez with a size advantage shoots over Ramey and puts the Bruins back on top.
Yeah, he's a guy that plays on the floor. His footwork is impeccable, and a lot of coaches don't like those two-point shots, but he makes them at such a high rate. Shoots over 50% from the field.
Well, two guys who have been doing it very well for a while, picking up much needed buckets in this game. A deep three for Courtney Ramey to give Arizona the lead, but it didn't last long. The Jaquez turnaround has the Bruins back on top.
Ramey showing his teeth.
Kev, Fonz, and Coach coming up at the half. Wait till you see what TCU is doing right now in the Fog, plus a big-time SEC battle in Rupp. Fonz, what do you want to see more of offensively from UCLA?
Yes, UCLA, especially when Arizona was in that zone, Seth, just casting up J's. Too many jump shots. When they've been able to get in the paint off the dribble or off the pass, they've gotten some good stuff. They got to continue to attack the paint.
UCLA's done a pretty good job of defending the post, did a pretty good job in defensive transition. The problem for UCLA is they're running out of post guys. Right, because basically the Arizona front court is fouling their whole front court out.
Foul trouble, big story here this first half, Anna J.
All right, guys, maybe they can see if Billis has some eligibility left. Kenneth Nuba's now gone to the bench with 4 fouls as we welcome you back to the McHale Center here in Tucson. And Dembone has been sitting for a long time with 2 fouls. So Mac Etienne, a 6'10", listed as a redshirt freshman, played in 13 games 2 years ago, the first COVID season, and missed all of last year after tearing his ACL. But Mick Cronin asking for 2 minutes and 56 seconds out of Etienne.
Yeah, the question with Etienne in this type of game is his physical strength. He's going up against either Ballo or Tubelis when they're depending on who's in the game at the same time, and that's a lot of strength to give up. But UCLA has done a great job on the glass on both ends of the floor. They've been the better rebounding team in the first 17 minutes of this game.
We talked about a contrast in tempo and style off the top of the show today. This is definitely more the pace to UCLA's liking than Arizona's liking so far in this game. Jaquez to Campbell. There's the shot fake. Step in and miss the 15-footer. Arizona gets down the floor quickly. That's Wildcat basketball. The layup in the lead from Larson.
Just a big-time pass ahead. The pass advance from Courtney Ramey to Pella Larson. And Umar Ballo is going to stay in the middle of the floor. He's not going to guard Mac Etienne out there.
Tiger Campbell fouled on the drive. It'll be on Courtney Ramey.
This is just great transition. Courtney Ramey with the pass advance gets an angle on Jaime Jaquez and just an easy layup with a simple pass ahead.
Larson guarding Jaquez. Turn around, the fadeaway again. Won't go for Jaime Jaquez Jr. in Arizona with a chance to extend the lead. Henderson trying to go all the way. He traveled.
Well, he got to walk, but Arizona's putting pressure on the rim and forcing UCLA to really get back in transition. You know, it's a slugfest in the half court. Anytime you can get an advantage situation, try to get the ball down court as quickly as possible.
Arizona's top 15 of the nation in terms of tempo. UCLA's 242nd. Clark spinning. Gets the shot off. Around and out of bounds. It stays with the Bruins. Boy, does Clark do a good job leaning in, initiating the contact, and still getting that shot off. And that's what Henderson's saying. He keeps getting me under the chin.
Well, I mean, we talked about it earlier. He's going to go right. He goes right into your chin every time. And draws a lot of free throws that way.
Clark in the post off the glass. No good. He can't buy one right now.
12th offensive rebound of the season for Etienne. Now an extra possession for UCLA. Now, UCLA is winning the battle of the glass.
Jaquez looked at the shot clock at the far end of the court to see how much time he had. He had plenty, but he couldn't make the shot, and we got a Bruins foul.
Yeah, he switched pivot feet to start that. Just didn't get called. But Arizona's doing a nice job at just clogging the lane. Anything in the lane right now is really difficult for UCLA. And it's just a question of how many shooters you have on the floor. And right now their three-point shooters are Campbell and Singleton. But Arizona's staying with them and then playing everybody else as a driver.
And with UCLA over the limit, a 1-and-1 situation for Oumar Ballo. 57% from the line on the season. His scoring, his rebounding, both more than double what they were a year ago. And how good was he in Maui, winning tournament MVP? Had 30 points, 13 rebounds in the championship game against Creighton.
And he kept it simple throughout his time in Maui and has done that for most of the season. I mean, he's second on this team in scoring. He's the second leading rebounder in the Pac-12. And he's second on his own team to Julius Tubelis.
That's tough.
Those guys average close to 20 rebounds a game between them.
Arizona has attempted 11 free throws in the game. Ballo has attempted 9 of them. This will be his 10th free throw attempt in the first half. And he's made 8 of them.
And as important as that is, it's the number of fouls he's drawn.
Yep.
Because it's put a Dembona on the bench for a good part of the first half. Going into their pitch game.
Clark with the penetration. The floater won't go, but there is a foul. And Jalen Clark will be heading to the line.
Boy, they got Ballo on the foul. I'm not sure what he could have done there. He went up and he caught. Clark came into him. This wasn't offense initiated contact, I didn't think, but shot had been released.
First on Ballo, free throws for Clark. Boy, he's playing as hard as he always does, Jay. He just can't get the ball to go in the basket today.
Spent his last year in high school at Etiwanda High School in Rancho Cucamonga that produced Darren Collison, who did pretty well for the Bruins.
And I should correct myself. He got the ball going in the basket early, had 9 early points, but that was all in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. So he does have 10 right now. 3 for 9 from the floor, 3 for 4 from the stripe. UCLA needs all of them. UFC 283 tonight from Rio de Janeiro. Another stacked card with 2 title fights. The main card begins at 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. The prelims at 8 Eastern on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to ESPNplus.com/PPV. A very physical, hard-fought affair here in Tucson. The first regular season meeting between Arizona, UCLA. The Bruins come in here having won 14 in a row. Jalen Clark leading the Bruins with 10. Oumar Ballo leading all scorers with 12, 8 of them coming from the free throw line. And about a 3.5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
Here comes a slot ball screen, now a down screen.
Priso was trying to draw the foul. He didn't do it, and he's left UCLA with some time. Singleton. And the first half will come to a close. Priso thought he should have been at the line. A very physical defensive battle. Neither team really able to make many shots. And it is 26-23 Arizona at the half. Holly Rose with Tommy Lloyd.
Hey, Coach, this has been a very physical game so far. How are you asking your players to navigate that right now?
Well, we got to toughen up a little bit. I mean, UCLA is a physical team, but so are we. And you know what? Hey, they're not calling a lot of fouls in there, probably both ways. We got to toughen up and deliver.
Second game, you had changed your starting lineup. Pella's been good off the bench. How is that paying off?
Well, I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, we went okay one game, and, you know, we only scored 26 points this half. But defensively, we only gave up 23, so I guess that's okay. But got another 20 minutes to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Now, he said it, 26-23, and a long way to go in this one here in Tucson between these two very good teams. Right now, back to the studio with Seth and Fonz. Here's Kevin Connors.
All right, Dan, a tough, physical, and as we expected, really good Pac-12 matchup. Welcome into our ESPN studios. TCU had never won at Fog Allen. Fonz, how have they completely controlled this game?
Well, turnovers like that. KU's usually really, really good with the basketball. Turn it over 10 times in the first half. TCU able to score 10 points off of those turnovers, Seth.
TCU, they turn you over, they get out in transition. That's who they are. They play downhill. Right now, Jalen Wilson's not getting any help whatsoever. KJ Adams getting in foul trouble the first half, definitely an issue. But someone else has got to step up to complement Jalen Wilson for Kansas.
Look at that 22-point Frogs lead. Elsewhere, Texas A&M unbeaten in SEC play. Coach Chris Livingston giving the Cats big minutes.
Yeah, get a paint touch, step in, Livingston knocks down that jumper. Oscar Tshiebwe, 2 fouls in the first half. This is the Kentucky team finds it's kind of hanging on without Tshiebwe.
Yeah, they're hanging on, and Julius Marble has been really good for Texas A&M early. He was the one who got him in that foul trouble. He's got 8 points in this game. We talked about coming to this game that Tshiebwe had to stay out of foul trouble. He's got to be much better in the second half if Kentucky's going to win this game.
A&M going the other way. Again, this is a Buzz Williams coach team that is not lost yet in conference play. But again, Jacob Toppin, another critical piece to this Cats team.
Yeah, Jacob Toppin, his ability to run the floor, defend, but also his ability to make shots. And watch here, a little pick and pop, gets behind the ball, steps right into it, knocks down that jumper.
Kansas, Kentucky, by the way, the Big 12 SEC matchup. Game day will be in the house next week. Alfonso Ellis, Coach Seth Greenberg, Kevin Connors here in studio. Fonz, as for our game, critical game for Arizona. They've been inconsistent of late. What's been different today?
Well, they got a lot of size, and coming into this game, they certainly have a size advantage. They've been able to take advantage. Tubelis has been a little quiet, but Umar Ballo has been on that offensive glass. They've been throwing it to him inside. And Seth, though he hasn't scored a lot of field goals, he's been able to get to the foul line. Shot 10 free throws in the first half, 8 of his 12 points from the foul line. He's been dominant so far in this game.
Focal point of UCLA scouting report, what is it going to be? First and foremost, you got to run the floor with Tubelis. You got to get back and set your defense. How do you do that? Shot selection, take care of the basketball. UCLA's done a good job with that. Now look, they're running out of dudes in the front court. They survived the first half with Bona getting in foul trouble, Newt getting in foul trouble. So right now, if I'm Mick Cronin, we're in a good place. All right, offensively, we got to improve a little bit, but we have the tempo where we want it.
Big win streak on the line for UCLA. Critical game for Arizona. The second half will be a lot of fun. In the ACC today, Virginia and Wake. Fonz, what makes this Cavaliers team different at the offensive end?
Their ability to be able to knock down the three ball. It was a struggle for them last season, but they shoot about 38% from the three-point line this year. They've got 9 made threes in this first half. Armand Franklin with 4 of them, Seth.
Armand Franklin, last 4 games, averages 16 points a game, shooting 40 from the 3. And let's face it, Ben Vanderplas at the 5 or 4, however you want to say it, opens up the floor for dribble penetration. When you get dribble penetration, what does it do? It gets you kickouts and wide open threes like Reese Speakman knocked down right there.
But a 17-0 run for the Hoos, who lead it by 10 at the half. Duke, Miami, Coach, you got the feeling it might be the Dukies' day when Dariq Whitehead did this.
What you say, he doesn't have range? Come on. What I liked about Duke today is they played through the post. They played through Filipowski, the post. Derek Lively's starting to develop a role. His ability to get the offensive glass and protect the front of the rim is really important for him moving forward.
For Miami, Isaiah Wong really struggled on the day. Hasn't been feeling well as of late. Only 2 of 8 from the floor. Hard for them to win on the road.
So key for Duke to have Jeremy Roach back on the floor. His ability, his leadership, his toughness, his maturity on display today in that win.
And Duke, always a tough place to play in Cameron, and they come away with the win. Fonz's guy, Umar Ballo. Oh, so good near the rim.
Big guys rule.
Cat Fonz in coaching studio. Iowa State off the win over Texas on Tuesday. This Cyclones team travels about as well as any in college basketball.
Yeah, and Gabe Kalsher, he has been playing at an elite level. In Big 12 play, 18 points, 40% from the 3. They have 3 perimeter wing guys, Will, obviously, and Holmes, averaging 38 points a game between them.
How about that? And they're able to get some production from their front court today. Osuna shooting, he's got 12 in this game.
Kalsher a little floater, but the Pokes have gotten back in this game. It's a 10-point Cyclones lead at the break. Texas Tech, Kansas State, what a week it's been for the Wildcats. And boy, Marquise Noel is really the facilitator in this team.
Boy, he's so good. He can score it from deep, get in the lane and make plays. And this 3-bomb that he's getting ready to make right here, Seth, is just absolutely ridiculous. Dude's got logo range.
Deep range, and you step back, he's going to knock it down. I'll tell you what, in this game, you look at the job that Texas Tech has done right now on Keontae Johnson, holding the 2 points. You take one of those two guys out, all of a sudden, it's a different basketball game.
Big-time game for the Red Raiders. Meantime, it's all over but the crying in Lawrence. 21-point TCU lead.
Go ahead, Seth.
I can't remember the last time Kansas absolutely got run on their home court, outplayed, outcompeted, out-toughed, beaten transition.
Able to read and stay in front of Grady Dick, limiting his effectiveness. Only 2 of 10 from the field for him.
I like the red concept.
Hey, I love that from somebody.
To K-State this week. Seth, Xavier assisted on 31 of 39 field goals. What makes them a great passing team?
Their bigs can really handle the ball and pass the basketball. They can post up Zach Fremantle. Jack Nungy can step out. Obviously, Sully Boom has been a huge addition, but this is the best passing, spacing team maybe in college basketball.
And Kobe Jones this dude rebounds the basketball, shoots it, gets in the lane and make plays. He's got 20 points on the day as well. One of the balanced offenses in the country.
The ball's got energy. This team, the ball does not get stuck.
X marks the spot on a 13-point win, and we're coming back. One of the best stories in college basketball is being written in Charleston. The Cougars have now won 20 in a row. They beat Northeastern on the road by 26. What a job Pat Kelsey is doing. Another great job, Antoine Davis at Detroit Mercy, now the #2 all-time leading scorer in college basketball.
I find him in transition. He only had 42 on 16 for 30 from the field and 8 for 18. The thing about his game is he's absolutely poised, lets the game come to him, and still drops 42.
And sadly, doesn't get enough credit for his willingness to be a passer. He's got 5 assists in this game as well. So efficient.
He's like Fonz, very efficient.
It's going to take a lot to get to Pistol Pete Maravich, who's the all-time leading scorer, but you keep putting up 42, it could happen. Nearly 3,300 points in his prolific, sensational career. Jalen Clark and the Bruins need scoring here in the second half. Down 3 at the break. Second half from Tucson is coming up next.
We going up like what? We going up like what? We going up like what?
Welcome back to Tucson. We head to the second half between Arizona and UCLA. Number 5 and number 11, and in a low-scoring affair, the Wildcats with a 3-point lead as we welcome you back to Saturday primetime here on ESPN. Jalen Clark had to work hard, as he always does, for everything that he got. Knocked down some shots early, 10 points, 6 rebounds. And tough at both ends of the floor for the Bruins. Maybe the dominant force in the first half, though, was Oumar Ballo. 12 points, 8 of them at the free throw line. Drew 6 fouls. Got some of the big guys for the Bruins on the bench with some foul trouble. We welcome you back inside the McHale Center. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Again, not a lot of great offense in the first half, but the Billistrator managed to find some to diagram.
Well, it's been a slugfest in this game. UCLA won the battle of the glass, but in the paint, it's been an absolute fist fight. And Tommy Lloyd's right. You just have to deal with it and get tougher. But for UCLA, they've got to get Jaime Jaquez even more involved. You see him down right along the baseline. He's going to get a little pin down screen from Adem Bona and get right into the middle of the floor. That's where he is so good. And even when you use him in screening action, he's going to set a little back pick here for Tiger Campbell. Or actually, he's getting the down screen, and then the defense just loses him. They're so worried about Jaquez, and Campbell gets wide open. I think the more that Jaime Jaquez touches the ball in the middle of the floor, when he's down on the low post, help is there because they're playing off of whatever big guy is the game from UCLA. But Mick Cronin has to be pleased with how physical and strong his team has been on the glass.
Holly Rose spoke with Mick Cronin at halftime. Holly.
Well, Jay, you're right. He was pleased with their defense. He said anytime you can limit them to 26 points, you're doing something right. But it's a football game out there. It is so physical. We are rushing things on offense. He thinks they've got to be much better offensively, but he specifically pointed out Jaime Jaquez. He said he's just got to slow down. He's rushing things a little bit too much. 2 for 7. And then the big guys in foul trouble, Adem Bona, he has got to play with that foul trouble. He said, 7 minutes in the first half, he's going to have to play with some fouls in the second, be very smart about it.
And it started early. Thank you, Holly. Remember, Bona picked up that first foul 36 seconds into the game, went to the bench, came back, But as you said, only 7 minutes in the first half. And you wonder if the Wildcats try to go right at him with Ballo the first chance they get. Tiger Campbell leans in. It's off the rim to Cedric Henderson Jr.
And Arizona's got to get Julius Tubelis involved. He only had 3 points in that first half.
And a travel called on Henderson. How do they get Tubelis more involved?
Well, they've tried to get him into high-low situations with Ballo up top. Sometimes when Pelle Larsson's been in the game, he's been a passer there. But one of the problems is the pressure on the ball. They can't see in.
You know, a lot of guys on both sides know each other well. There are a lot of upperclassmen on these two rosters, so they're very familiar with one another's games.
Look, Ballo right in the middle of the lane. He's not even going out. He's not within 10 feet of Adem Bona.
Got to step up on Campbell. Bona catches it down low, kicks it out. Campbell open and buries a three.
Just that inside-outside interaction. When Bona rolled to the basket, he wasn't picked up, got the ball, then was picked up. And Tiger Campbell wide open. It's almost like an offensive rebound bucket.
You know, Tiger Campbell, without question, Jay, not one of the biggest, not one of the fastest, but boy, is he one of the best point guards in America.
He's one of the toughest.
Yep. Boy, knocked away by Jaquez.
What a play by Jaquez.
UCLA in transition. Arizona recovers.
Nice job by Cedric Henderson Jr. not to go for that shot fake.
Jaquez and Ballo knocked that away with ease.
He got fouled. Tubelis crushed him.
Ramey with a transition three.
And that's what Arizona wants to do. Get the quick shot in transition where you don't have to slug it out in the half court. Boy, there was a ton of contact on Jaime Jaquez on that shot. That was remarkable. It was a no call.
Campbell off a couple of screens. Thought about another one. Well, they're not giving Singleton any room. Look where Ramey is on him. Now Singleton frees himself, but left it short.
Don't know why he took a two. If you're going to take that, take the three.
Ballo spins into Jaquez and kicks it out for Krisa. Yes!
Boy, that was an inch away from a turnover. Wound up being a three.
And a timeout here early in the second half called by Mick Cronin. Back-to-back threes, Jay, for Arizona.
Well, first it was Courtney Ramey in transition, and then Kerr Kriisa after Ballo went into the lane and spun.
At halftime today in this game, Ernie McCray, who played for the Wildcats from 1957 through 1960, was the first African-American basketball player to graduate from the University of Arizona. He was honored, the official ceremony putting him in the Ring of Honor. He still holds the U of A record with 46 points in a game. Tommy Lloyd introduced him at practice yesterday to the current Wildcats, and Lloyd said, this guy scored 46 guys. I don't know if any of you can do that. And they all took a picture with Ernie McCray. A wonderful moment yesterday at practice and today here in the arena.
Yeah, that 46 points that Ernie McCray scored in one game is still the all-time record here at the University of Arizona. And you know how many great players they've had here in a Wildcat uniform.
Couple of early threes in the second half for the Wildcats to give them a 6-point lead.
I think you have to look for Jaquez here. Out of the timeout. And there it is, trying to isolate him in the low post, but well defended by Henderson.
Bona left alone and will miss the foul line jumper, but it's tipped out to Singleton. Campbell the kick. Clark the three. And out of bounds to Arizona.
With Oumar Ballo not guarding Adem Bona, he's right in the middle of the lane. And you would think that, okay, when Bona sets a ball screen for Tiger Campbell, but Arizona wants him to go all the way to the basket. So his choice is come off that ball screen and shoot a pull-up shot, which is only a 2. I mean, Arizona's making some choices on this, and thus far, those choices have been really good.
Tubelis into Ballo. And he traveled.
And that's the 9th turnover for Arizona. Now, part of that has to do with the physicality of the game. You know, you're coming down trying to get your balance after getting hit. But that's just part of this.
Looked like he was kind of caught in between. Do I make a move? Do I kick it back out? And kind of backpedaled into a travel. So 10 turnovers committed by Arizona. And again, UCLA with one of the best turnover margins in the country at about 7 per game.
Their turnover margin is remarkable. They just turn it over while we're talking about it. But UCLA has a +7 turnover margin advantage. And at this point in the season, for a team in a Power 5 conference to have that kind of spread is remarkable.
Fewer turnovers than their opponent, as you can see, in every single game in which they've played this year. Ramey the kick to Tubelis. Full head of steam. Count it!
Just a little pick and pop to isolate Azuolas Tubelis on the left lane line. So just above the left elbow. So watch him set this screen and then pop out of it. And now he's got a left-handed drive as a lefty right down the lane line. Bona's got to come over, fouls him, and Tubelis in the first half had a number of shots where he got hit, wasn't able to finish it. That one he finished.
Three-point play, 9-point lead. And the third foul of the game on Adem Bona as well.
It's been tough to free up David Singleton, but he set a screen for Jaquez, and that opened it up.
Around and out. And an Arizona foul on Henderson, I do believe.
Yeah, that was a tough situation. Yeah, that was just rebound. In the game this physical, that's a tough one. Now watch them going up for the ball. I mean, that's just rebounding. There's no, with all the contact in this game, it's kind of hard to justify that one.
And it's number 3 on Henderson. He goes to the bench. Larson again coming off the bench for the second game in a row. Checks back in. Campbell the pull up.
He's going to have to start taking that. It's available, and I think you have to take it.
Hand off for Kriisa. Stolen away by Jaquez.
There's too much pressure to see in.
Jaquez for 3, and that snaps a 9-0 Arizona run.
I mean, Jaquez shoots about 31% from 3. He's hit 13 of them on the year, but didn't hesitate there. Good job by Campbell to take it down to the baseline, the throwback action.
Kriisa looking for Tubelis, finds him in good position. Tubelis gets it back.
Looked like Larson kept that ball alive. But I like how Tommy Lloyd is putting Azuolas Tubelis into ball screen situations where he can just roll and cause problems.
Staying down on the shot fake.
Which was really smart because Jaquez just hit that one.
Ball's loose. 4 players are in on it.
Is that a first down? I think it's a first down. We have to measure it, though.
They'll bring the chains out. 5:14 into the second half. Arizona with an 8-point lead. Courtney Ramey has knocked down a couple of threes here in this game, and he and Jay Bilas take it 94 feet to new heights when we come back from this timeout. And we mean that literally.
We were at the top of the mountain, Dan, the last time I climbed that high to see the Maharishi.
Sentinel Peak, also known as A Mountain here in Tucson, a very popular hiking trail and landmark. The A was built by U of A students in 1916, and it's where Jay Bilas and Courtney Ramey talked, doing 94 feet.
94 feet with Arizona's Courtney Ramey.
So you transferred to Arizona from Texas. What was the first interaction you had with Kirk Kriisa?
I got a random text and it was like, this is your favorite player. So at the time I'm thinking it's Isaiah Thomas, but when he texted me it was like, it's Kirk Kriisa. Then we got on the phone and we talked for a couple of minutes and it was a great conversation.
Well, you have a number of international players that speak different languages. Do you ever get a little confused when they're talking to each other?
Yeah, I remember my first week here, I almost walked out the locker room because they were all speaking their own language, so I thought they were talking about me.
What's your favorite type of food to eat?
Korean barbecue.
Best player you've ever guarded?
Jason Tatum or Michael Porter.
Are you afraid of anything?
Yeah, I'm afraid of animals.
You're afraid of animals?
Yes,
Why are you afraid of animals?
Animals have teeth and they bite, so it's like, I don't know what's going through their mind, so they can attack me at any time.
Any animal?
Any animal with teeth.
So if you have teeth, stay away from Courtney Ramey.
I assume you didn't tell them there could be snakes up in them mountains, did you?
No, we didn't discuss that. What a great young man. I mean, remember Shaka Smart telling me at Texas that Courtney Ramey was the heart and soul of that team, and he can play at both ends of the floor, really defends, and man, can he shoot it.
He's knocked down a couple of threes, 41% on the season. Arizona with an 8-point lead.
Arizona running a little action to try to get a drive to Pelle Larsson, but it was really well guarded by Jalen Clark. But Azuolas Tubelis has been a much more aggressive player in this second half. When Larsson got that drive denied, he just went down in the post and got an angle.
Arizona is 5 of 6 from the floor in the second half to take a 10-point lead.
Much stronger with the ball. Not sure who the hungry dog is there.
Yeah, the coach is as hungry as any of his players in the UCLA program, no doubt about that. Boy, do they need a bucket on this trip.
And give Pelle Larsson credit. He's done a really good job on Hawkes, making everything difficult.
Ballo, the help defender, swats it away. Bona has it in a fresh possession now for the Bruins. Hawkes, no. Tip to Clark and laid in by Hawkes.
A ton of offensive rebounds, and UCLA has really done some work on the boards to stay in this. They have been the tougher rebounding team in this game, and Courtney Ramey tried to knock that ball away. It looked like he was trying to knock it to a teammate, but it wound up going to UCLA.
UCLA has 13 offensive rebounds in this game. Arizona's got 3.
They don't have a stick back.
Tubelis, no. Boy, that's a shot he normally makes.
And they've also done a good job on Kirk Kriisa. What a great play by Courtney Ramey to stop what was a sure layup by Adem Bona.
And then knocked away by Ballo. Larsson, 1-on-2, and it stays with the Wildcats.
Well, UCLA's defense takes you out of just about everything you want to run. And they've really made it difficult for Kirk Kriisa to be an assist guy when he's been out there. I mean, Kirk Kriisa's only got 1 assist in this game, and he's leading the Pac-12 in assists. Averages 6 assists per game.
Second in the league is Tiger Campbell, who just sat down. Dylan Andrews, the freshman, back into the game for the Bruins. Kriisa, tough step back 3. And what a rebound by Clark.
Clark has been great on the boards on both ends, both on the offensive glass and the defensive boards.
Leans in again. Arizona ball.
He didn't get the rebound, but did you see how high Adem Bona got on that rebound attempt? That is an athlete, man. His feet are unbelievable. He is explosive.
Bona, freshman from Nigeria, played mostly soccer as a kid, started playing basketball only when he was about 13. What a cut by Larsson. I know you love a great cutter.
Well, he was just smart. I mean, on the baseline drive, that cut's wide open. And he made a hard cut right in front of the rim.
Andrews. Boy, all kinds of opportunities, and finally Bona converts.
Well, UCLA is just playing volleyball on the backboards right now, and that's been the best offense for the Bruins, has been the offensive glass.
16 offensive rebounds now for UCLA.
Same play, and draws a foul. using Tubelis as a screener has been really good for Arizona. Now take a look here at Pelle Larsson, and off the terrific, can't really, there he is right there, and off the terrific drive by Henderson on the other end, you got weak side help, and all of a sudden he cuts right down the gut and gets an easy basket. There's been nothing easy in this game. Who we kidding?
Over on ESPN, Cason Wallace in Kentucky up on Texas A&M, Fonz.
Yeah, the freshman showing a lot of poise. Most freshmen would go too deep. He stopped and popped, knocked that one down. Great read.
40-37. Meantime, Coach Zakai Ziegler in Tennessee and Baton Rouge after that one.
Yeah, Zakai Ziegler coming off a 24-point game against Mississippi State. He brings a little New York City toughness to the Vols.
Vols coming off that win over the Dogs earlier this week. You'll see it on ESPN on a great day of basketball. Top of the hour, Dan and Jay.
Devin, thank you very much. A look at the Pac-12 standings. UCLA undefeated at 8-0. Arizona's already lost in conference to Utah, to Washington State, to Oregon. So they are 5-3. But boy, would a win today for Tommy Lloyd's team be big. I think, Jay, that both of these, there's a lot of basketball left to be played. I think both of these teams are theoretically in play for a 1 seed down the road. Now, Arizona would have more work to do. They'd probably have to beat UCLA a couple of times, and they'll play them at Pauley in the last week of the regular season. But a win over UCLA today would be a nice step in the right direction for the Wildcats.
Well, these are great opportunities, and I agree with you that both of them are in the conversation for a 1 seed. But not both. I mean, both of them can't get it.
Right.
But I think Purdue and Houston are, I think, going to be 1 seeds. You know, Kansas has such a gauntlet that they're running. I mean, every time they turn around, they're playing a top 20 team. You know, that league is ridiculous, the Big 12. And, you know, how many, I think all 10 teams in the Big 12, and somebody can explain that to me sometime, how there are only 10 teams in the Big 12, but they're all ranked in the top 60 of the net.
Yeah. And how about the game in Lawrence today? TCU, the Horned Frogs, go into Lawrence and beat Kansas by 23 points at the Phog.
And Kansas, usually when they get beat, and they got beat by 1 in overtime on the road in Manhattan, Kansas to Kansas State, usually they bounce back at home. And not only did they not bounce back, they hit with a thud. And TCU's good, but that was an eye-opening score. Using Tubelis again as a ball screener on the side.
Larson with Bona guarding him. Bona's got 3 fouls. Beautiful feed. And the finish for Tubelis.
Well, that was really smart. Just to isolate Pelle Larsson. They didn't want to run anything. They got the matchup they wanted. He drew 2 defenders and found Julius Tubelis.
Much better offense being run by Arizona. They're much crisper here in the second half.
Arizona's defense, this is one of the better defensive performances they've put on all year.
Knocked away by Tubelis. Transition. Tubelis off the glass and draws a foul. Tiger Campbell stepping in and called for the block.
The matchup they wanted. Bona guarding Pelle Larsson, and he just lets everything settle and then takes him right into the middle of the lane. And Jaime Jaquez has to come up and stop it. All of a sudden, 2 playing 1. Julius Tubelis adjusted his position, got to the other side of the rim, and made himself available. That's just really smart basketball on the part of Pelle Larsson and Julius Tubelis. Holly?
Well, you guys talked about how this 6'11" player runs the floor in transition. You saw his feet really good on that. I asked him, why do you have great feet at your size? He said, you know, we played outside till 10 to 11 at night. My mom would have to call us in. We played outside in Lithuania. He was a big swimmer for 4 years, but he also credit sock hop. He and his brother would do partner dancing, and he was trying to translate the word for me, and as he translated it, it was the sock hop. So he was a pretty good dancer with partners when he was young. Those feet are showing up today.
Who knew? His brother Todvilas Tubelis, also a member of this Arizona team.
Wonder if a sock hop you wear a zoot suit.
In and out for McClendon. UCLA is ice cold at the moment.
A couple of questionable decisions in this game in the full court by Kerr Kriisa.
Tiger Campbell, boy, whenever it seems like the Bruins really need a bucket, it feels like it's Tiger Campbell who delivers.
But that was all set up by the turnover. You know, the turnover by Kriisa, and Arizona never was able to get set defensively. And they've done such a good job when they've been set playing 5-on-5.
How good is this kid going to be? He is 17 years old. Reclassified, enrolled early, had foot surgery, came back from that quicker than expected. And Kylan Boswell going to be a star. But meanwhile, an answer to the other end for Jaquez and the Bruins.
Well, Jaquez just got a great angle down low. But Kylan Boswell, you mentioned he's 17 years old, an excellent on-ball defender. And him playing gives Kerr Kriisa a little bit of a blow at times, but Jaquez just knifing down into the low post, getting that angle where he had to be fouled from behind. And those are a couple of buckets that Arizona's given up where they didn't need to. I mean, first on the turnover, and then just a quick strike by UCLA where they didn't have to run anything.
And Jaquez misses the free throw. Henderson, by the way, has gone to the bench for Arizona now with 4 fouls. Kriisa with a bona on him. Now Boswell open.
Well, good action. So many screens run, so much to navigate for UCLA. They took away everything inside, and Boswell had it. They've got a foul on Kriisa there.
See how he feels about it. Campbell going to the line for 2.
Tiger Campbell, 6th all-time on the UCLA career assist ladder. We've had some pretty darn good players at UCLA. I mean, can you imagine? Like the number of Hall of Famers they had. If you had to come up with an all-time UCLA team, you know, the top 5 players, put together a roster, you'd be leaving off like 10 Hall of Famers off that.
And I think Bill Walton and Kareem would be playing some high-low with the best of them.
I would think so.
You'd throw the ball inside a lot. Tiger Campbell likely to wind up 2nd on UCLA's all-time assist list. What a career he's had.
Boo Richardson, the all-time leader.
High low to Ballo. And he got grabbed, and he's strong enough to finish.
Right now, UCLA's pressure on the ball, not as strong as it was in the first half. Jaime Jaquez playing a good 4 feet off of Azuolas Tubelis. He's just able to see over the top, and give Ballo credit. He did a great job of sealing over the top, so you can just throw up to the rim, and it just goes right over Ballo and the defender, and he's able to catch it because of that great seal.
Tipped out to Larson.
Smart play by Courtney Ramey.
Tubelis. And Ballo is out of bounds. It's UCLA ball. You know, not a lot of teams have 2 bigs anymore, play the way that Arizona plays. What is it about these 2 guys, other than their ability, obviously, that makes this style of basketball still work?
Well, they both will run, and both of them run the floor extraordinarily well. And you remember Oumar Ballo started his career at Gonzaga and wasn't really getting on the floor, and transferred to Arizona, and they have worked with him, and he's gotten minutes and just keeps getting better and better. But it's a nice combination because of the skill sets that both of them have and their willingness to run the floor. This is not an easy style to play. People say they want to run, but it's tough.
McClendon steps in and knocks down the jumper to get it down to 9.
Will McClendon went to Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, had an ACL injury last year in the preseason, but he's a strong, quick guard, but has not shot the ball well. I mean, he was like 3 of 17 from the field when he came into this one.
Ramey no. Bona the rebound and a chance to inch a little bit closer for the Bruins.
Big possession right here for UCLA. Arizona's playing with that cushion. Got to put a little more game pressure on the Wildcats. Here comes the ball screen. Just nowhere to go.
10 to shoot. Campbell floats it up off the rim, and Ballo another rebound. That'll be his 6th.
Good job by Ballo to help on the ball screen, still get back to the rim.
Ramey, count the basket.
Boy, that was an important possession. UCLA could inch closer, and Arizona winds up stretching it out with the transition bucket after the Ballo rebound.
So the lead is back to 11. Courtney Ramey having himself a nice afternoon. Goaltending the call right there. And it's Arizona by 11 with 7:17 to go here in Tucson.
The main attraction. You don't want to miss. True story. Statement games can make or break championship resumes.
This is not a final exam. This is a midterm.
It's a top 10 showdown and a clash of old school blue bloods. Experience the SEC Big 12 Challenge doubleheader Saturday on ESPN.
2 big-time games for you next weekend. Texas and Tennessee, and Kansas and Kentucky. Kansas coming off a big loss to TCU today, but Jalen Wilson having an All-America caliber season. Oscar Tshiebwe, the reigning National Player of the Year, dropped 37 and 24 on Georgia Tuesday, but right now, Jay, Kentucky getting all they can handle at home against Texas A&M, trailing early in the second half.
Went to a different lineup against Georgia. Xavier Wheeler's been injured, but Cason Wallace took over the point guard duties. The second half that Kentucky played against Georgia was, I think, their best half of the year, and that's the way they got to play going down the stretch.
Well, how can UCLA try to get going offensively here with just over 7 minutes to go? Jaquez for 3. Clark another rebound.
That's his 10th rebound, his 6th offensive rebound of the game.
And he'll call a timeout. Got trapped in the corner. A 6'5" wing with 6 offensive rebounds in the game already.
Well, Arizona's defense has really been the story of the game in this. Now, have the Wildcats rebounded to the level they'd like? No. But for a team that is known as an offensive team, that their defense was what really needed to pick up. You know, this has been a terrific performance by Arizona. They've handled the physical challenge that UCLA presents. And, you know, Tommy Lloyd said something to his team yesterday in film session. He was kind enough to let me in. I watched film with the team. And he had said, look, we played well against USC. That's the way we want to play. But now we got to prove it. You know, people are saying we can't do this, we can't do that. We have to prove it. And this has been a step forward to proving it over and over again, because that's what basketball teams have to do, is prove it over and over again. They've held UCLA to under 30% from the field in this game. It's remarkable.
And playing a team that comes in here on a 14-game winning streak. The Bruins haven't lost a game since November.
Pelle Larsson's done a really nice job on Jaime Jaquez.
Campbell knew he missed it, tried to chase it down, but it belongs to Arizona.
That's really one of the only shots available for Tiger Campbell, is use a ball screen and then with Ballo right in the middle of the lane, just do that pull-up jumper.
Ramey cut off by McClendon, finds Tubelis, who's had a big second half. Rejected.
He was passing that, and it was still rejected by Adem Bona.
Krisa has to force it up, and it's out of bounds back to the Bruins. Coverage of the round of 16 at the Australian Open begins tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN Plus and continues on ESPN2 at 8 Eastern, highlighted by Coco God. Every match can also be seen live on ESPN Plus.
Oumar Ballo still playing right in the middle of the lane, not even guarding Adem Bona out there. He has clogged up everything.
Campbell sneaks inside, and Bona is fouled and will go to the free throw line.
Well, there's a ton of contact by Courtney Ramey on that drive by Tiger Campbell. But Adem Bona, he is a difference maker Look at all that contact. I mean, he's just riding him. And then when Oumar Ballo goes for the block shot, that just opens up the offensive glass for Adem Bona. So hard to get that rotation over to pick up Ballo's assignment for a block out. And the offensive glass continues to be the best offense for UCLA.
Let's bring in Holly.
Well, guys, this UCLA team, that one of the longest winning streaks in the nation, and they believe in themselves. Tiger Campbell said earlier this week, I just know this team and the heart we have. They had to use a big scoring run to win against Arizona State, so they're not out of this with 6 minutes left. This is a team that has a lot of confidence, a lot of veterans, and one of the best leaders in the country in Tiger Campbell. We'll see if they can use a run here, but this Arizona defense pretty tough too.
Yeah, in Tempe on Thursday night, they were trailing in the second half, closed the game on a 17-2 run to win 74-62. They're going to need something similar, Jay, if they're to win this one.
No question. I mean, they've got to string stops and scores together, and both have been difficult.
Right now, Tubelis being fronted by Tiger Campbell down low after a switch. Larson for three. And it stays to this end of the floor. Good effort there by Tubelis to keep it alive.
Need a little bit better communication between Tubelis and Ballo. They were both posting up in the same spot, and I think Tubelis telling Ballo, look, when I got Tiger Campbell on me, man, give me some space. I want to, there's a mouse in the house.
Creasa to Ramey, who steps into a three. Boy, did he shoot that with confidence.
Well, as soon as Creasa drew that attention off the ball screen, Courtney Ramey was wide open, and you leave him open, he's going to drain it.
UCLA's only 2 losses to Illinois and Baylor, both on a neutral court in November in Las Vegas. This is their largest deficit of the entire season.
Well, every time you drive, you're driving right into Oumar Ballo.
Campbell no, follow no. Arizona ball.
What a play by Bona. My goodness.
How many guys his size can make that play?
How many guards can make that play?
Ballo the tip and Ballo the steal. Tubelis misses it in transition. Campbell. Boy, what a 5-point swing potentially. That is if UCLA can get back into it. Under 4 to go.
What a huge turnaround there.
And they're going to take the under 4 media timeout now with 3:55 to go. A big three for Tiger Campbell. It started with a great play by Oumar Ballo, but then Tubelis lost the handle on the way up. And then Tiger Campbell again, whenever they really need a bucket, it seems like it's Tiger who delivers. Two top teams here, Arizona and UCLA, in front of a packed house at the McHale Center, and no surprise, it has been an emotional affair. It has been a physical affair, and it has been a low-scoring affair. 54-44, Arizona leading in the second half. Azuolas Tubelis has 11 of his 14 in the second half, and look at the difference in the numbers for the Wildcats first half to second. Why have they been so much better offensively?
Well, they've done a better job of isolating Azuolas Tubelis, using him as a screener, and their movement has been better. It's not been just looking for high-low. They're looking for other options to isolate defenders. And Arizona's defense has been great. I mean, they've made a choice that they are not going to guard the UCLA 5-man. So it's been Oumar Ballo the overwhelming majority of the time. And he needs a new jersey. That's how hard he's worked. He's sweat through one. But, you know, they put him down in the middle of the lane. And they're forcing UCLA into the paint. and UCLA's driving right into Umar Ballo, and there's not a lot there, and they haven't been able to prove it over the top. It's been a great game plan. Jack Murphy spearheaded this game plan for Arizona, and they've really worked it to a T in this game.
UCLA shooting just 29% from the floor in the game.
Dembona just ran Umar Ballo right off of his spot and disrupted that entire play.
4 to shoot. Ballo's got to get it off. He doesn't hit it, and it's UCLA ball.
A good defensive stand by UCLA, but it took him 30 seconds.
Singleton's had a quiet day, the sharpshooter. Now Jaquez with a size advantage on Ramey, and Ramey reaches in and fouls him.
It's just the 6th on Arizona. Probably a good decision there by Courtney Ramey. Just make him inbound it and get your matchups. And Jaime Jaquez is going to the free throw line. It's like, dude, this is a football game. You're not in the 1-and-1 yet.
Next one on Arizona would put UCLA on the line no matter what. Jaquez. The 3 rattles out. And UCLA now 4 for 19 from three-point range.
And Arizona has decided if they're going to give up any shot to Jaquez, it's going to be that one.
And they can also slow it down just a little bit. Under 3 to go. 2:40 now with a 10-point lead.
UCLA only has 14 fouls, so they can be aggressive. Oh, what a play by Larson.
Krisa. Ballo's got it. Got wrapped up by Jaquez, and Jaquez called for the foul.
Looked like a jump ball. Now take a look at this. Tubelis keeps it alive. That's a foul. It's 2 thumbs up, baby.
So non-shooting foul, the 15th foul on the Bruins. Pressure on Ballo, 15 to shoot. Now Krisa.
The pick and pop, and then the drive.
Tubelis to Ballo.
Well, that action has been so good for Arizona in this second half. Pick, pop, drive, draw the defense, and lob it up. That was beautiful.
The 2 big guys have combined for 30 of Arizona's points as Bona answers at the other end. But trading buckets not nearly good enough right now for the Bruins. Campbell the foul.
Now take a look at Azuolas Tubelis here. Sets a little screen, then pops out of it. Ball screen, pop. And when he catches it, he drives past Bona. That means Jaquez has to come over to stop the drive, and leaves Umar Ballo wide open for that little drop-off lob. Just beautifully done and beautifully drawn up in this second half. They've gone to it over and over again, Arizona has.
Well, tomorrow we'll have an ACC women's basketball matinee for you on ABC and the ESPN app. Number 20, NC State taking on Louisville. The Lady Cardinals 6-2 in ACC play. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern. And then Big Monday on ESPN, a doubleheader at 7 o'clock. Duke, which narrowly defeated Miami by 2 today. They'll be in Blacksburg. And then Kansas and Baylor, the last 2 national champions, will meet. Boy, every night in the Big 12 is something else. So many good teams. It'll be Kansas and Baylor Monday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
The last 2 national champions, and you're going to get a desperate. Can you be desperate in January?
Oh, yeah.
But losing 2 in a row, Kansas isn't used to that. Heading to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. That's going to be a great game. And then Duke taking on Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, they are much better than that record they have in the ACC. Hunter Couture is now back. And before he went out with that arm injury, a left arm injury, broke a bone in his left forearm, I believe it was. You know, they were 11-1. And I saw them last Wednesday against Virginia. And man, Virginia is getting better and better. Their offense is starting to really click. And their defense, they have the 2 best defensive guards in college basketball with Reese Beekman and Kihei Clark.
Arizona 6th in the nation in assist percentage. And Jay, they've got 9 assists on 12 made field goals in the second half of this one.
That's a good percentage.
That's pretty good.
I think that's 75% if I'm not mistaken.
Might be some rounding there on your part, but we'll let it slide. 66% on the season, and yes, 75% here in the second half. Looking much more like themselves in the second half offensively than they did in the first.
Handled that pressure pretty well, the 2-2-1, and then turn it over.
Campbell up top. Bono with a slam, and it's an 8-point game.
Boy, that must be nice for Tiger Campbell, knowing you can throw it as high as you want. But just a casual pass after breaking the press. You want to keep it off the sideline, get it more to the middle. And that sideline pass, Jaime Jaquez is able to disrupt it. And all of a sudden, UCLA, in one of the few break situations UCLA has had all game long. Usually the transition has been in Arizona's favor.
These two teams will meet again on the final Saturday of the regular season. That, of course, will be at Pauley Pavilion. You can see that game on ESPN, and then maybe they'll meet for a third time, just like they did last year in the championship game of the Pac-12 tournament.
It shall be so.
It shall be so. I think it shall be so. Behind these two right now, Joe Lunardi's only got 3 Pac-12 teams in the tournament. And again, there's a lot of time between now and Selection Sunday, but Bobby Hurley's Arizona State Sun Devil team is the only other team that he's got in the field right now. These two teams looking like they will both pick up a very high seed.
Right now, ball security is everything for Arizona.
Adem Bona on the ball. Courtney Ramey to inbound for the Wildcats.
Any catch, you have to catch, face the defense, expect contact, and make a play. UCLA doesn't have any more fouls to give before the 1-and-1. Both teams have 16 fouls.
Risa finds Larson, and they get it over. Stolen away, though, by Clark. And the Pac-12's leader in steals lays it in to make it a 6-point game.
Boy, what a lazy pass. Now it's a 2-possession game.
Deflected. Stolen again. Jaquez. Bona had it, but it bounces to Henderson. Boy, had that 3 gone down, it would have been a 1-possession game in the blink of an eye.
Boy, Arizona just shooting themselves in the foot here. These are just poor passes. I mean, that's just a simple exchange, and Jalen Clark reads it, shoots the gap, takes it for an easy basket the other way, and Courtney Ramey just throws this thing up for grabs. It's deflected, make a pass fake, be strong with the ball. I mean, that was a sliver away from disaster for Arizona.
Boswell.
Looks like they're trying to foul him.
Yep. And a 5-second call. They force another turnover.
Boy, it appeared like they were trying to foul and didn't get it. And now Arizona's got to move on and play defense here. Boy, UCLA ratcheted up the pressure, and Arizona has not reacted well to it at all.
What's that? Maybe 4 consecutive turnovers. 4 in a row committed by the Wildcats. Bona with a tough catch. And the finish to make it a 4-point game. Mick Cronin, timeout.
With a 2-possession game, there is plenty of time here. And UCLA does not need to foul right now. You can go for a steal and be as aggressive as you want to. And right now, Arizona is shell-shocked. Little screen by Adem Bona. He rolls to the basket. Tiger Campbell just lobs it right up. And this was a strong move. That, those are dangerous plays. That could be a 3-point play if you wind up fouling that close to the basket.
Now, recently, UCLA has closed games very well, but Jay, that's to break open a close game and then win it a little bit more convincingly. This is just to try to make a miraculous comeback. Arizona, meanwhile, I mean, they've got talented, experienced players who can handle the ball. They just got to handle the ball better.
The pressure has come in UCLA, to Holly Rowe's point earlier. They just have a tremendous amount of toughness and will. But when you're faced with that, you have to meet that pressure with your toughness and will. And Arizona has not shown that in the last minute and a half. You're just casual with the ball when you need to be toughest with it. So right now, UCLA, my guess is, will continue to put pressure on the passer out of bounds and then try to get them catching the ball toward the baseline sideline and then trap it. And UCLA gets a lot of deflections. They've got long arm defenders, and you have to be really strong with the ball here and force them to foul you.
So 4 perimeter players in the game for the Wildcats, along with Tubelis. An 8-0 run for UCLA, 11-2, going back a little bit further than that. Arizona has scored only 2 points in the last 5 minutes.
And you have to know where Jalen Clark is. He's the most dangerous defender out there. He's almost like a defensive back or free safety. You've got to know exactly where he is all the time.
Creason to Larson. And they get it over. Precious seconds ticking away. Tubelis blocked at the rim. Blocked again, but count the basket. A goaltending call there on a Dembona.
And Tommy Lloyd not happy. He thought Tubelis got hit on the arm, that was he didn't go to the floor because it was all ball, but we'll see. I mean, the referees were right there.
Now remember, in the last 2 minutes, as Tubelis is slow to get up, something else to keep an eye on as he slowly makes his way to the bench. They can take a look at this in the last 2 minutes. They can take a look at a goaltending call. Who fell hard on his tailbone and then got stepped on by 2 different players. Wow.
Got all ball up top, got some arm after the ball, but
so then this is what they're looking at. It's not the Tubelis play, it's the Larson follow. And should it have been a goaltending call? Boy, oh boy, tough stretch for Tubelis. When Larson puts it up, it hits the rim first. And this is something relatively recent, the last couple of years, I guess, in the last 2 minutes of regulation or any overtime period, if a goaltending call is made, you can look at that.
But if they reverse this, it's a jump ball, and UCLA gets the ball.
So if they reverse this, the 2 points would come off the board, and it would be UCLA basketball. So how big is this?
Do you like this rule of reviewing goaltends?
I think it's such a tough call to make, even sometimes with the benefit of replay. So I think my answer would be no. I don't like that this is one you can review in the last 2 minutes. What about you?
Well, it's a tough call to make for administrators of the game. That these are the type of calls you have to live with for 38 minutes. And same thing with these out of bounds calls that they review. Those are called a certain way for 38 minutes, and the last 2 minutes. Question is, did it hit the backboard first? Was it taken off the backboard?
It hit the rim, but I think Bona got it before it hit the backboard.
Once it hits the rim, it's a rebound. So like if it hits the rim, that's a rebound. So there is no goaltend. So it should be UCLA ball. If it hit the rim first before he touched it, there's no question about this. But now the question is, what do we do here?
This is not your typical one that they look at, and now 2 of the officials, Frank Harvey III, Tony Padilla, going to have a look at it. Hits the rim, still going up.
But I don't understand this part of it. Once it hits the rim, that's a shot attempt. Looked like he got it before anyway, but hits the rim, it's now a rebound. Does this increase our ratings with referees watching this much television? I think it should. We should make these guys Nielsen Nielsen watchers, you know.
Yep.
Because they are technically watching our game.
Yes.
Ratings will be through the roof.
A big call. It's either a 6-point lead. Either way, it's going to be UCLA basketball. It's either 4 or 6. Don't know how seriously shaken up Tubelis is right now. He certainly hit the court hard.
I think Arizona needs to all get together and start thinking about the next play. To your point, whatever happens, it's UCLA's ball, and they got to be locked in to play defense.
And the goaltending call has been waved off. So take the points off the board. 56-52 Bruins ball with 12.8 to play.
I think Arizona needs to press up defensively and make UCLA take. They can't let them roll the ball in. You got to be up there. These seconds are precious here.
Ballo in the game, Tubelis on the bench. Obviously not a popular call here, but it did certainly appear to be the right call. And UCLA just needs the quickest available score, whatever kind that may be. Campbell spins into the paint, forces it up, tipped up, no good. Larson's got it, and that is going to do it. Arizona is going to win it. I believe there was a foul, yes, so it's not over yet. There was a foul call with .9 to go. And Arizona is going to hang on at the end and hand the Bruins their first loss since mid-November.
Ridiculously hard-fought game. And one of the more physical contests you will see on a basketball floor. But Arizona, for the most part, I mean, they're going to be watching film and try to handle the late game situations a little bit better, but give this Arizona defense credit. In a game where a high scoring team like Arizona doesn't get to 60 and they're going to win. It shows they can win any type of game.
Larson makes them both, and that'll do it. The Bruins suffer their first conference defeat. The Wildcats up their record on the season to 17-3, 6-3 in league play. A tremendous defensive effort by Arizona today, and something to look forward to when these two teams meet again at Pauley Pavilion about 6 weeks from now. So the big guys put up some numbers again for Arizona. Ballo had 16 and 8. Tubelis had 14 and 10. And a much better second half for the Wildcats. The situations at the end of the game notwithstanding, for about the first 18 minutes of the second half, they really executed very well, and they beat a terrific UCLA team here this afternoon.
This was a toughness game. And Arizona showed a tremendous amount of toughness on the defensive end.
Oumar Ballo, 16 points, 8 rebounds, and an interview with Holly Rowe.
You've got blood on your sleeve, on your shorts. This was a physical, hard-fought game. How did you guys hang on to get this win?
I mean, we had a great game plan, and we needed to win this game. Through the whole week, we went game by game. After USC, all our focus was on UCLA, and we came out today, we executed really good.
They were killing you guys on the rebounding. You came out personally and made a statement in the second half on the boards. Why did you do that? How did you do that?
Because I'm the tallest guy on my team. I'm the biggest guy, so I need to set the standard high. And I came box out. Even if I don't get it, at least I get a good box out. The guys fly in and get a rebound. It's a teamwork.
How stressful was the last minute of this game where they kept getting turnovers and got back in it?
It was stressful, you know, but at the end of the day, our guys are mature and they know how to handle the pressure, and we did it pretty good.
How do you describe a big win against UCLA, but also snap their long winning streak?
It feels good. Nothing feels better than snapping streaks. So I'm really happy we were able to get the job done today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oumar Ballo, another big game and a big part of this win for Arizona. as the Wildcats hold the Bruins to a season low in points with 52 and a season worst field goal percentage, 31%. Follow one of the best big men in the country, one of the most improved players in the country, and a big-time part of Arizona's win here today. Courtney Ramey was knocking down threes. A low-scoring, hard-fought, physical affair, but Arizona beats UCLA 58-52. For Jay Billis, Holly Rowe, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long from Tucson.